All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Don't want to belabor the point. It's 3:33. We have four bills ahead of us, which hopefully should go in quick succession. I do want to again recognize our colleagues on the committee. So I do see Councilman Z. Cohen of the First District, Councilman Ryan Dorsey of the Third District, Councilman Chris Burnett of the Eighth District, Councilman Shannon Sneed of the 13th District. So again, I appreciate you all being here. And Bill Henry, the illustrious from the fourth district. I know that we're also joined by representatives of the mayor's office, Anila Themelis. I also see Liam Davis from DOT, Ashley Brown from Law, also Michelle Wurzberger from BPD. Thank you for joining us. Tom Ackers from Liquor Board will keep you busy today. DePaul Nibber from Health. So again, with all that being said, we will get started with the several bills that are before us. And all the bills today are essentially the same. There are resolutions for approval to exchange from Class BD7 licenses to Class A7 licenses. And the reports are all pretty much the same. So we see that there is pretty much no objection from Law, Health, Police, or Liquor Board. We will hear the bills individually, but I just want to give that intro going in, and then providing opportunity from any of the sponsors or affected parties to have any comments on them. With that being said, also want to thank Richard Crumrick, also known as Larry Green, if you're looking at your screen, for joining us today. We can't do pretty much anything without the staff. And again, thinking about even the budget office being here with Amari James. So thank you also for joining us. So getting started. So scheduled for 3:30 p.m. is our first resolution, which is City Council 200233R resolution approval for exchange of a Class BD7 license to a Class A7 license. It's at 1300 to 1302 Lawrence Street, and that is from Councilman Pinkett. I don't see him on the line, but also, as mentioned, there was no objection from any of the agencies that are here today. Is there anyone has a question or comment about this one? Okay, it looks pretty straightforward. That being said, I would also entertain a motion if there are no questions.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Cohen, second by Dorsey.
I think that was Bill Henry.
Yeah, it was me, but I recognize that from this distance, third district, fourth district, very similar. So you can put either of us down for that. I'm sure that's
all right.
fine.
We're going to credit that second to Henry then. All right. All right.
Chairman Bullock.
Yes. Hold on a second. All right, ready for the roll call?
Chairman Bullock.
Yes.
Chairman Bullock votes aye. Is the vice chair still absent?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Burnett.
Yes.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Cohen.
Yes.
Mr. Cohen votes aye. Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Dorsey votes aye. Mr. Henry.
Aye.
Mr. Henry votes aye. Member Sneed.
Yes.
Got lost and was trying to make a U-turn and had to call for assistance.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Affirmative.
6 in the affirmative.
Yes, we can go to second reader on Monday. Point of reference, because these are resolutions, second reader will be final passage.
All right, thank you. Okay, so that takes care of item number one. Item number two was listed at 3:35 p.m. It is now 3:38, so we are good to go. Everything we've mentioned before still stands. Again, this is City Council Resolution 200234R, resolution for approval for the exchange of a Class B7 license to a Class A7 license. The address is 1741 West North Avenue. And again, this is from Councilman Pinkett. As previously stated, there was no objection from any of the agencies listed. Are there any questions or comments about this piece before we move on? All right. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Had a couple of drinks.
Okay, so moved by Sneed, second.
Second.
Second by Cohen. All right, ready for roll call.
Chair Bullock.
Aye.
Chair Bullock votes aye. Vice Chair is absent. Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Cohen.
Aye.
Mr. Cohen votes aye. Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dorsey votes aye. Mr. Henry.
Aye.
Mr. Henry votes aye. Member Sneed.
Yes.
First time.
Mr. Sneed votes aye. Mr. Chair, there's 6 votes in the affirmative. We can go to final passage next Monday if that's desired.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so we are moving right along. Fortunately, the next item is over 3:40 p.m. and it is actually 3:40 p.m. So we will go ahead. Might be moving too fast. Go there. All right, so our next agenda item. This is CC 200235R, resolution for the approval of exchange of a Class BD7 license to a Class A7 license. The address is 1041 Greenmount Avenue, and this is from Councilman Stokes. As previously mentioned, there is no objection from any of the listed agencies. Are there any questions or comments from anyone at this point? Looks like there are none, so we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Cohen,
Second.
second by Henry.
Okay, roll call. Chair Bullock.
Aye.
Chair Bullock votes aye. Vice Chair is absent. Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Cohen.
Aye.
Mr. Cohen votes aye. Mr. Dorsey.
Aye.
Mr. Dorsey votes aye. Mr. Henry.
Aye.
Mr. Henry votes aye. Member Sneed.
Yes.
Member Sneed votes aye. 6 votes in the affirmative. Chair, we go to final passage. Okay, it might be a minute or two ahead.
All right, so we have one more item ahead of us listed for 3:45 p.m. So if we hang on for another 3 minutes, we can go ahead and hear that one. Yeah, so before we go on, I know the next one is actually from Councilman Cohen, and I know this one's a little bit different because it's a movement of an address. Do you want to talk a little bit about it before we actually hear this one?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. In essence, to make a long story short, this is the same liquor store. They're moving buildings. So they're still going to be in Harbor East. They're now in the new Liberty building. They had been immediately adjacent to Whole Foods. So
Actually, it's been 6:04.
Yeah, that's been 6:04, right?
yep, that's right. In essence, same staff, slightly larger space, but they're just transferring over. And they've been a great partner in the neighborhood. They employ locally. So, happy to support the need for the license.
Understood.
Okay.
All right. So we got one more minute to go. And we'll be
About 30 seconds.
All right. So now that it's 3:45 p.m., we will get going with our final agenda item, which is City Council 190173R resolution approval for the exchange of a Class BD7 license for use at 604 South Exeter Street to a Class A7 license for use at 711 South Central Avenue. This, as we know, has been introduced by Councilman Cohen. You mentioned, a couple things earlier. Is there anything else you'd like to mention around this establishment that we're most familiar with?
No, just as I mentioned, they're literally moving right down the street. But proud of the business that they do in my district and in our city.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Again, with all similar to the other items before us today, there's been no objection from the agencies that are joining us. Are there any changes or any questions or comments at this point? All right. Seeing none, we'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Is that second by Henry?
Yep.
All right.
Aye.
All the joy.
Chair Bullock.
Aye.
Chair Bullock votes aye. Vice Chair is absent. Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Cohen.
Cohen votes aye.
Mr. Dorsey.
I think Bill's feeling some kind of way because, it's not going to be long before the only votes he's going to be casting on the Board of Estimates. He's trying to get his kicks in here while he can, probably contemplating all these years
No
and
editorializing,
years
Councilman.
here.
Roll call, Councilman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Henry.
I'd like to take a moment to explain my vote.
Of course.
Actually, I'm just kidding. Ron already did it. Aye.
Mr. Henry votes aye. Member Sneed.
Yes.
Member Sneed votes aye. 6 votes in the affirmative, no negatives.
Well, thank you to all the members. This has probably been the most humorous and most brief hearing that we've had in front of the Housing and Urban Affairs Committee. So again, thank you for your time today. Thank you for everyone's work so far. And again, I do want to say I do appreciate the work the health department does, as well as BPD and the liquor board as it relates to some of these items that sometimes people take for granted. So again, thank you all for participating today. With that, we'll stand adjourned.